Well, for more on this, let's bring in Ibrahim Fraihat. He's an Associate Professor of Conflict Resolution at the Doha Institute for Graduate Studies. Thanks again for being with us.
Thank you.
Just on what we were hearing there from Shihab Rattanzi about the US really pushing forward and trying to get as many troops, carrier groups, even telling us that a submarine a guided missile submarine was going to be heading this way. What do you make of that, and who do you think that message is for?
Well, the message is certainly for Iran, and here the U.S. is working on multiple tracks. One is that posturing in the region and sending a very strong message to Iran that we are ready not only on the rhetoric level and making statements, but also by sending aircraft carriers to the region, submarines, in order to be ready and to defend Israel. That's one. Second, everyone is preparing for the August 15th talks, and the U.S. is counting also big time on these talks to try to have a breakthrough. And for that reason, they're sending three top diplomats, including CIA Director William Burns and Secretary of State Antony Blinken. So the U.S. is working on these two tracks in order to contain the escalation in the region. And the escalation, we know for sure that it's going to be different and stronger in momentum compared to the latest escalation with Iran that happened in April. So on these two tracks, the U.S. is hoping to make a breakthrough.
Yeah, just on the first point there, the U.S. is trying to send a message to Iran by sending this missile carrier group and the submarine, speeding up their deployments. Do you think that, one, Iran will be listening? Will they be worried? And will they have to recalibrate how they respond to the assassination?
Of course. I mean, for a rational actor in international politics, it will have to include all these calculations. And Iran, especially that Iran is not interested in a regional or in an escalation to a regional war, because Iran will have to pay a lot for a regional war as well.
So how does it respond then without it escalating too far and getting into a full-blown regional war?
And I think, yes, that's where the great balance that Iran is expected to make. One is to try to respond to the humiliation that Iran encountered as a result of the violation of its sovereignty and assassination of Hamas top leader on its soil, but at the same time not to escalate to a regional war. And Iran has made it clear in many statements that we are not for a regional war, but at the same time we have to respond. The Iranians' response is necessary from Iranians' perspective, not only in terms of retaliation for the attack on its soil, but also its positioning in the region and its relationship with its allies, the access of proxies, access of resistance and the relationship with its proxies in the region. So it cannot just let it go without any meaningful response, and it cannot repeat the same symbolic response that it delivered back in April. It will have to go a step higher, and it will have to come from Iran, not through the proxies, because this happened on Iranian soil. And for that, Iran is moving or is trying to strike this kind of balance. And the U.S., of course, is trying to send a message, don't go too far in your response. And I think that's why the reason we are seeing this kind of accelerated posturing of U.S. military presence in the region.
Iran also said that it was going to deliver a swift response. We haven't seen anything yet. Why do you think that there has been a delay to this point?
Well, actually, more than one reason. One is that I think we are seeing some internal debate within Iran, how far Iran should go, and whether Iran should take the risk of a regional war. Especially, there is a view presented by Jawad Zarif, former foreign minister, where is trying to strike a balance and not to escalate, while at the same time there is a promise by the supreme leader that we will retaliate and the retaliation will hurt. So the internal debate is one thing, but there is a second reason, which is the August 15 talks. And I think this would provide the face saving that Iran is searching for in order, if there is a breakthrough and there is a ceasefire, then there won't be a necessity for an Iranian response. And for that reason, there was a statement yesterday by an Iranian official saying, whatever Hamas or the war stops in Gaza, we are happy to accept.
Okay, fascinating. Thank you so much, Ibrahim. As always, we really do appreciate your insight into all of this. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
In Gaza, Israel continues to carry out attacks right across the Strip. At least 25 people have been killed in just the past 24 hours. Figures released by the Palestinian Central Bureau of Statistics show Israeli forces have now killed 1.8% of the Gaza Strip's population since October the 7th. An Israeli airstrike hit a house in Gaza City's Sheikh Radwan neighbourhood on Sunday, killing at least one person. Meanwhile, in the south, tens of thousands of Palestinians have been told by Israeli forces to evacuate the eastern parts of Khan Younis. Many of them are sleeping on the streets as they are simply left with nowhere else to go. Hani Mahmoud joins us from Khan Younis with more on all of this. Hani, attacks in Gaza City and evacuations in Khan Younis, where you are, recently being relocated to. Can you just give us an idea of what it is like there in Khan Younis right now?
Well, the situations, Tom, keep evolving in a much more complexity and creating more difficult living conditions for already displaced, traumatized, struggling on daily basis population across the Gaza Strip. Ongoing displacement, mass evacuation orders by the Israeli military, sending people to uncertainty. They end up in areas that are supposed to be safe as designated by the Israeli military, but they end up in area where they are attacked regularly, what happened at the Hamas evacuation zone and in different parts of the Gaza, but also the ongoing air attacks coupled with the heavy artillery, the fact that the skies of the Gaza Strip, mainly in the central area and the southern part of the Strip and elsewhere, in fact, clouded with sky predators that are not only it continues the attack, but also create this intimidating atmosphere for people who are in some areas. They have the interest to be elsewhere in searching for more for safety, for better areas to shelter with their families. But the presence of these drones and whether attack drones, surveillance drones, are creating this intimidating, concerning for their safety atmosphere that they aren't able to leave their areas or their homes. Here, the ongoing mass evacuation is causing a great deal of difficult living conditions as people are pushed into a smaller area here after the Israeli military cut off part of the humanitarian zone and included it into the red zone that I'm talking about, the Hamad's residential complex that's in western part of Khan Younis that used to be part of the humanitarian zones designated for the past 10 months as an area for people to shelter in. Not anymore. This has done further shrunk the humanitarian zones in western part of Khan Younis city and other areas, just causing further difficult living conditions. An area already overcrowded, running out of space, doesn't have basic necessities or basic supplies for people to cope and to sustain their life at these unusually difficult living conditions.
Hani, as always, thanks so much for giving us the latest there. Hani Mahmoud in Khan Younis.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.